This AFC East Division Preview Edition of the Sports Gambling Podcast is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with promo code SGPN to score up to $1,000 in bonus cash. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Get your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM.
Hey, what's up, you degenerate gamblers? This is Bill Burr, and you're listening to SGPN. Let it ride, baby.
He's one of those guys who will get penetration.
Welcome everyone to the Sports Gambling Podcast. I'm Sean, stacking the money green with my partner in picks, Ryan, Real Money Kramer. What's happening, Kramer?
Dog. Apologies, I was making sure all my dolls and knickknacks were on the table.
Knick knack, patty whack, give a dog a bone.
And as I said,
that was an all-time Jameis.
I mean, what's crazy about Jameis is it's gotten to the point now where people are forgiving the crab legs. Like, people have actually done their own research.
Yes,
DYOR, as the internet says. And guess what? Turns out Jameis was framed. So he's back to being a hero.
Yeah, Big Play Dave said he couldn't reveal the full story, but it does sound like maybe there was an understanding. Some things got confused. It seems like he was pretty some trumped up charges on the old crab legs.
He was a badass quarterback out of college, and someone offered him some free what he thought was free crab legs.
Yes,
you can't blame the man.
If
anything, we know he's an honest man. Anyway.
Yeah.
He's an. I mean, he's made some mistakes.
I just want him to stay in the league because I just enjoy hearing his. I mean, again, his clips are just so awesome. It's just so great to see Jameis locked in. Yeah, we got a lot to get to, Ryan. Obviously, we did 32 NFL team previews, and 32 NFL team previews. We got one for each team. Obviously, in the NFL, of course, collect each word from one word from each team, and you're good to go. You collect the 32-word phrase. You go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/phrase, and one lucky winner will get a $500 circa NFL ticket. And good to go there. So we will draw the winner on our week 1 NFL picks podcast. We are taping, if you're watching live on YouTube tonight, we're going to tape week 0 college football picks. It's getting pretty football-y, Ryan.
Live to tape. Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, exactly. It kind of feels real. I was firing up the old pick sheet for Colby to select the games. Our first comical battle of which games we'll be breaking down on week 0. I said, Colby, there's only 4 or 5 games, right? And he's like, how deep do you want to go? So we might be talking NAIA. Who knows?
Oh, awesome. So again, we're picking games in college football that are actually happening, and we just dropped our make sure you check it out. Had Phil Steele on the show. We gave out our college football playoff brackets. Super fun, and good to go. Now we're talking AFC East. So if you miss it, the way we've done it, and last year, and we're going to run it back, is we do each team preview, but then we do a division where we recap. We go look at the teams, check in on our win totals.
Call it a roll up.
A roll up. Okay.
Yeah, we're rolling up all the teams. I mean, some people, there is a certain sector of our audience that gets angry when the episodes are too long, and with very, very small percentage of that audience. We know that from the NFL pick show in season, but the folk, this is for the TMZ NFL crowd, kind of.
Okay. There you go, Ryan.
That's my thought.
Insulting the people that are checking it out.
Well, I think there's going to be more people tuning in to division previews than who actually tuned into the 32 team previews. That's what I'm calling out the audience a little bit.
Okay. So yes, audience, Ryan laid down the gauntlet. Go back and listen to the team previews. But excited that you are tuned in to the AFC East division preview. Like you said, we're going to go through our
always pandering to the chat.
We're gonna go through the win totals,
yes.
See if we have to make any adjustments. Ryan, how many games off was I on the total wins losses? I was 6 off.
So a little behind the curtain. I actually intentionally put a bad formula into I wanted to get the work done, but I altered it enough to where I wouldn't be able to see it as we were going, because I did not want to cheat the wins and losses. And so yeah, we got to the end. Sean, you were off by just 6 wins.
Okay.
You have the NFL going 278 and 266, which of course is impossible unless they find a way to just eliminate teams and losses. I somehow landed right on it, 272 and 272. Interesting element, Sean. You had the over 19 and 13. I had the under 19 and 13. So I still potentially I could make some moves here. Maybe I'm too bullish on the unders this year, but yeah, I mean, you have 6 wins to correct. I have 0. Maybe I'll still make a move. I haven't decided.
Yeah,
in the moving spirit.
Do we have any historical data on team overs versus unders? Because it doesn't have to be a 16-16 split, right? Obviously, because some teams could really underperform, and when they're setting the numbers, they're not really factoring in of like, oh, hey, we want to get 16 overs and 16 unders. So it doesn't really, like 19 and 13 could be very well right, or the reverse, 13 and 19.
Well, I think, and if you if you're in the sheets and you pop over to the final standings tab, you'll kind of see. Well, there must be something. There must be a situation, or maybe I didn't actually publish this data, but if you look at the win totals and you adjust it for juice and you sum up all those wins, what you would find out is there's more wins than there are possible to get. And so I think in general, you want to be tilted a little to the under. If we're just talking about a volume play, because the lines are set to a number that is more than the number of games, the 272 wins. And so very rapidly, let me see if I can do this. Sean, what is 137 and 133?
137 and 133, meaning what? Like
270 actually. So I lied. Oh, no, I didn't adjust for the juice there. So yeah, once you get the adjustment, I bet you we would land right around 274, 275. Those are some floating, basically like the rounding and the decimal of these, where the book has to put the number a little higher because they're expecting more positive bets than negative. And so, yeah, I think you probably want to be slightly under. In general, kind of like player props. Like if you look at the player prop, like quarterbacks every year, and you just took yardage.
Well,
it's
that's
not
a little different because
it of course is a little different because there is a infinite outcome scenario versus the finite number of wins. Like this is like energy, right? You can't create it; it only moves around. And so, yeah, I still think you would probably want to be skewed more towards the under slightly. But barely, like not enough for it to be like if you ended up 16 and 16, that's not wrong.
All right, let's start at the bottom, work our way up to the top, at least according to the win totals. First team we broke down on the team previews was the New England Patriots. You and I both had them coming in at 3 and 14, going under their 4.5.
Markets have moved against the Patriots since we've spoken of them.
Is it still a 4.5? Or is this the updated?
No, it's still 4.5. I didn't update any numbers just to kind of keep it sourced from the team preview. But I think just in general, people are seeing a team that's tanking. They traded away their best defensive piece,
Matt Judon.
Maybe they're going to play the rookie a little bit longer than we thought because, as you've been screaming, why not?
I said yes, and I know there's some disagreement. I know Tom Brady's like, I learned how to be a quarterback and sitting at Michigan, and I learned sitting behind Drew Bledsoe, and yeah, maybe, but I think if you're the New England Patriots this year, why would you not want to put Drake May out there? He gives.
It's a great example, Tom Brady, because he got drafted in the 6th round. If that was the case, you do have to sit for a little bit. But if a team's investing a 1st round pick in you, yeah.
Also, I think the dynamics have changed in the NFL, right? Like if the best part about or like one of the easiest salary cap hacks people always talk about is having a rookie quarterback that is your starting quarterback on a rookie deal, and that window is very short, especially if you're going to sit him for 1 or 2 years.
I will say, and my pushback would be based on something that my opinion's changed on. And through like youth sports, basically, like what is more important, being on a better team to practice with that better team, better coaches, or game time at a depressed level of competition. And so slightly different scenario, I know, but I actually have come out of this one going from thinking all that mattered was actual competition to no practice, seeing it with my own eyes, practice time with an elevated level of competition and an elevated level of coaching is much more important. And so to apply that to a quarterback position, I don't think it means you can break someone like confidence wise, sure. But the idea of breaking someone, I don't know if I believe in, but the idea that someone could benefit greatly from sitting and having maybe a more detailed focus on not game planning every week for the next opponent and kind of refining the elements of the craft that need to be refined. And so that would be the slight bit, but that's like only, I feel like, a 20% piece of the pie maybe. And again, if you're taking a guy 3 overall, you're kind of messaging that you think he's going to be the guy. And so like what's that timeline look like? Are you like the Falcons and you're hoping to have him on the field in 3 years, or is this something you're looking to get better now?
Sure, that sounds good, but let's say you don't play Michael Penix in the preseason. You don't really know what you have. You think you're bringing him along good, and then you sit him for 2 years, and then you play him that 3rd year, and he sucks. Then what do you do? Like, I think if you're the guy in the NFL, they can figure it out, and I want to know that sooner rather than later. And if you're a guy who you put in, oh my God, I can't handle the NFL, and you're broken by having poor line play or broken by the situation, or you haven't seen the game enough and blah, blah, blah. I don't think you were the guy to begin with. I think if Patrick Mahomes played his rookie year, he would still be fucking Patrick Mahomes. I think if Jordan Love played his rookie year, yeah, it probably would have been a rough rookie year, but I still think, and I think maybe they would have benefited from moving on from Aaron Rodgers a little sooner than they did. So I think there's two sides to the story. This idea of breaking someone, you're picking this guy 3rd overall. You're picking this guy in the top 10 of the NFL draft. If he's someone that can be broken by playing the NFL, I don't think he's the guy.
Last 6 MVPs, all were given the luxury of not having to start right away. It's not saying that you're wrong, but it's also just.
What about Lamar Jackson? He started
didn't
his
start
first
right
year.
away. He didn't start right away though.
Oh,
it was at the end. It wasn't really like he also had time on the bench. I'm just saying, like, I kind of agree with you now in today's NFL, but there's plenty of plenty of quarterbacks who have been given that luxury have turned out well. And honestly, if you make the list of the guys who started right away, who is it?
What do you mean?
Like the guys that were thrown into the fire right away. Week 4, their rookie year or earlier, like Peyton Manning style.
Yeah. Great example. Peyton Manning started.
I'm saying since Peyton Manning, who's a good example?
Carson Wentz. I think that was,
I mean, yeah, but he also broke.
No, but that's a horrible example. I mean, that's Carson Wentz is an example of me being right.
I'm just saying that there's enough. This is why there's still a debate on this topic, in my opinion.
I am of the camp that if you're a quarterback drafted high, you should play. And I think you already see the rumblings in New England that, hey, Drake May, looking pretty good, threw a really nice deep ball.
Well, if you're going to tank, why not at least get the reps? Like if you don't care about winning, I think it's a different discussion where then it's like, yeah, why not have the guy go through a year of being the starter, practicing, learning how that works.
I don't think watching Jacoby Brissett for 8 games while you're sitting the bench is helpful. I just don't. I mean, you can say I'm wrong. You can say, oh, he needs to develop. I'm out on that idea. So any bets that you can get that basically lean into the idea of Drake May playing sooner rather than later. I mean, Ryan, what are you going to make of all the bets we gave out on the New England Patriots team preview? Which one is your lock?
Well, I was actually going to pull up our futures stuff that we had discussed, because I'm pretty sure we discussed Drake May as a very long shot to be the starter.
Yeah, I mean, I think we gave it out as high as like 750. I think on the team preview it was plus 550. I still liked it then. I think he's going to be involved sooner rather than later. Maybe we don't cash the plus 550, but I would not be shocked.
All right, Drake May. So when we discussed this on May 7th, Sean,
yes,
Brissett was minus 550. Drake May was plus 350.
Okay.
and we suggested that Drake May was a great buy at that point.
Yeah.
I think the price even got bigger
No,
because there was more talk of Brissett definitely starting.
The team preview episode, I have it. Whenever we tape the Patriots team preview, he was plus 550.
There you go. So
game one.
I mean, what are we doing? It just seems like it's too bad they don't have that open, and they even had the Minshew one open pretty late. All right, but yeah, I mean, love hearing a lot of people in the community just flood to this lowest or most losses, fewest wins. Any way to play that to me, and I think we're probably going to need to find an updated price, but how do we not? There's two. I think the division win total is probably what I would tell you is my best bet. Still at 1.5 divisional wins. I don't see them getting to 2, but the Drake May most interception prop.
Yes. Are we going to make that the lock?
I think that might be inconsiderate. I need to look. It was
Ryan, and there.
What was the price on the episode? The team preview was 75 to 1.
Yeah. There and actually bumped me up 1 win on the Pats. I had them 3-14. I'm gonna make them 4-13. If you could toss them one of my 6 wins that I have to give.
Yeah,
out.
I'm gonna just arbitrarily throw that into that.
I see the case for the divisions. The what I'm concerned about the division win is division games can get crazy. They play some division games late. Who knows? I still think the under 4.5 is probably the best bet for the Patriots if we're doing lock. But I do like
they're not favored in a single game.
Yeah.
See, but you still want to give them an extra win.
Yeah. Because I think
just in case
I was leaning in the idea of Drake May starting sooner rather than later, and we see it all the time with rookie quarterbacks. They come in, maybe they don't know how to play them. They pull some plays out of their ass. They're running around back there. They make a couple plays and then they pull out a win. So yeah, I like making the Pats 4-13, and
he's got the legs for like what you're describing. I think.
Yeah. I mean, oh
my God, Drake May still 75 to 1.
All right, are we gonna make that the lock?
So you really you don't think it's wise for me to say that they're gonna have under 1.5 division wins?
I mean, look at their. No, I mean, again, I'm on the under still at 4.5. I just think if you look at the Patriots schedule, would I be shocked if they pull out some 2 division wins? No, I think you're much better because they have some. I mean, like that January 5th game in New England, Bills coming to town. Bills playoff spot could be locked up. Are they definitely playing? Can you say that with certainty that they're definitely playing?
That could be the only one.
I guess that's another way to look at it. But yeah, it's division games. They randomly get up for these. And I would not be shocked if they pull a couple 2 division games out of their ass. That's certainly something that could happen. Bad teams win division games all the time, Ryan.
Drake May to have the most interceptions, still 75 to 1.
I know you keep saying that. What is your official lock here?
Okay. It's got to be that.
All right. I will co-sign that because it's just such a fun way to play it. All right. So Drake May officially most interceptions at 75 to 1. Hey, underdogfantasy.com. If you haven't signed up, what are you waiting for? Deposit match now up to $1,000 in bonus cash. Use that promo code SGPN. Get you set up. It'll be interesting to see. I'm pulling it up right now. Yeah, I don't think there's going to be a bunch of Drake May season long stuff up because I think they're probably nervous that he's going to be starting earlier rather than later. They got Pop Douglas up, Ryan. I know you liked his lower in the team preview, sitting there at 3 receiving touchdowns, but plenty of ways to either ride or fade the New England Patriots and use that promo code SGPN. Get you a sweet deposit match up to $1,000. Perfect time. NFL college football about to kick off. Put in that season deposit. Maximize your bonus. Underdogfantasy.com promo code SGPN. We're also brought to you by Circa Sports. Circa Millions. Of course, we are going to be out there, Ryan, signing up for the contest, doing Radio Row. We'll be out there Thursday to Saturday. Come say hi, sign up for the contest if you haven't already. Use our proxy, Vegas Matty, proxy.footballcontest.com. Get your free SGP hat. And when you use the promo code SGP, proxy.footballcontest.com, you get $50 off your proxy fees. And of course, enter Nevada, play from anywhere. Get all the details over at circusports.com. So all right, Drake made most interceptions, although we do both really like the under there. Next team, we got the Miami Dolphins, win total 9.5. We both did a slight over here, Ryan, finishing 10-7. Any thoughts on or changes from when we last talked to Big Rob?
No, I think just in general, seeing how the division ended for me, that's kind of how I see it. I think all of these teams, Miami, Jets, Buffalo, in the playoff mix, not really sure who's going to take down the division. Didn't have a strong opinion. So the fact that I landed on 10-7 for all of them made a lot of sense. So yeah, I think the Dolphins, I don't, what's changed since we talked about them? Not a ton. I feel pretty confident that they're a similar team, right? They're probably going to do well against the bad teams. I think they're probably going to be able to score a bunch of points in the good weather spots and dome games. Yeah. And I think the defense might be tough. But I will say the one area where I have kind of noodled myself into a different thought process was that the addition by subtraction of dinosaur Vic Fangio and his archaic defensive scheme. And so maybe
you've really hated on Vic Fangio.
I've looked at the data. It's just a thing that's kind of near extinction. There's a couple roaming around. They're trying to get him fuck at a zoo, but it won't quite take. And so Vic Fangio, this could be the end.
I like the Vic Fangio defenses are there's only a couple standing.
They're like pandas.
I like what I've liked about the Vic Fangio experience, again, early, open to change if he sucks, but the player accountability, that kind of stuff, I think, especially with the guys the Eagles have on their roster, I think has been good. And I like what I'm seeing out of camp. Again, it's early, it's camp. But
things are good. Things are good. What happened in Miami is when things started not being good, it sounds like things got fractured.
Well, a lot of the stuff they complained about was him being hard on the players, which I'm fine with. Like I don't mind having expectations. And if you look at that Miami defense and your thought is like, hey, they need someone to be easier on them, I don't think that's the case. And I think it actually could end up hurting them. That being said, their offense is really good.
Something to look for as an Eagles fan. Maybe there was a little bit. It's funny diving into this scenario a little deeper. A little bit of the Wink Martindale, Dable situation where there was also an old guy defensive coordinator maybe having a little bit of friction with the different style of the coach. And so when I look at Sirianni and Fangio, some similarities there. Will be interesting to see if anything comes to a head. But I'm giving them a little bit. I'm giving my thoughts on what the defense can be, a slight uptick. We discussed on the team preview, being a Baltimore defense and how that just generally seems positive. But I think now feeling more strongly about Fangio just being near death and crotchety old man.
Really killing.
Well,
the Dolphins.
metaphorically. No, I like the Dolphins
killing Vic Fangio.
So yeah, I think. If anything, I think the Dolphins, let's circle it right now. We're going to fade them in the first round of the playoffs, right?
Yeah. I mean,
but they will be in the playoffs, I think.
No, I know this Dolphins team. It's tough to have a hot take on them because they are who we thought they were, right? They're a team that can throw the ball. Weather's good first half of the season, get out, they're cruising. And then cold weather hits, Tua gets a little banged up. Them hitting a wall late, and I do think the defense could be a problem. 10-7 feels exactly right for the Dolphins. I will just stick with the over 9.5 as my favorite play there. I mean,
I think we didn't talk enough about it, but the schedule is the spots that you circle where it's like, Miami has 3 games where they got to go to cold weather.
Yeah.
At Green Bay week 13, at Cleveland week 17, and at Jets week 18. So maybe things get dicey there down the stretch in terms of making the playoffs, but they have so many either no good weather or inside games, like cities with bad, like the Patriots game. Part of the reason I like the Patriots win total in the division under 1.5. Miami comes to town week 5. And so, yeah, I guess I'm right where I'm at with this team, which is I definitely want to be optimistic, not pessimistic. Think they're a playoff team.
So what's your favorite play, Ryan?
I mean, it feels slightly correlated to the. So there's 2 options. It's the division win total again, because I kind of like this one 3.5 to the over because of the Patriots game and the fact that we could get plus 115 on it. I also like the Chop Robinson defensive rookie of the year angle.
I like that too.
And I kind of like the theme of just keeping long shots out there.
All right. You're making it
something that wasn't on the card that I might.
Yeah, you know what? I will toss Chop Robinson. I'm with you. Defensive rookie of the year.
So even since we've talked about the team, it's like it does seem like there's the opportunity is very great for that price.
Yeah, and normally the defensive rookie of the year isn't as wide open of an award, but this year, since there was no defensive player drafted in the first 15 picks of the draft, it does create some opportunities for some guys further down the board. And I would, especially early in the season, where you kind of have to get out, like you can't come from nowhere in defensive or offensive rookie of the year. If Chop Robinson can get some sacks early when Miami's playing well, they're playing from up front, they're playing with the lead, which is a good spot for them defensively. If he can rack up some sacks, put himself in a good spot. Chop Robinson, 20-1 defensive rookie of the year.
And I believe you might even be able to do better than that price now. It seems like there might be a 25-1 out there, but yeah, you mentioned it, but just the combination of, which other rookie is going to be on a team with this level of offensive talent. And then you talk about how the schedule is nice, so he can get out in front, which is always important, right? Jalen Carter stuck around to the end, because of how hot he started, even though he was completely an absentee down the stretch. And so, yeah, great point. And then the last thing is this is a voting award. His name is Chop.
Exactly.
I do think that will have some level of impact. People are going to love to talk about it. The highlight's going to have a little bit more pop on Sports Center. What is Berman going to use?
Karate Chop Robinson. I mean, and the problem is Chop is such a.
I'm thinking
Chop
steak.
Suey Robinson.
I'm thinking like a chop house, like something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, maybe I don't know. I feel like Berman will.
Welcome to the Chop House.
That's it.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see get a T-bone at the Chop House. Man, why did they get
Robinson? He'll work in too. There'll be a combination.
Cuckoo, Mrs. Robinson. I got your porterhouse chop right here.
Chop. Yeah, there's something there. Yeah. So I just honestly, when you look at that, and I'll pull it up real quick, but when you look at the rookie of the year market, Sean, especially on the defensive side of the ball, you mentioned the lack of high draft picks and clear favorites. Well, they're doing that with Latu and Turner. They're both plus 450. But after that, you have Byron Murphy, who's going to be an interior defensive lineman, 10-1. Jared
those are tough usually because you have to get the sacks.
You got to have sacks. I mean, last year, the kid from the Rams did play on the inside next to Donald, was in the mix.
Yeah.
So was Jalen Carter, but they were getting sacks. Then you have Jared Verse 11-1. Okay, I can see that. But then it's cornerback Arnold 12-1, cornerback Mitchell 12-1, and then Chop Robinson, who, like I said, 15-1 to 25-1 is the range right now. He's being dealt. He seems out of place there with the opportunity. So there we go. Are you playing the over? Is it a ticket in the pocket yet
for Miami?
Obviously we like the over before the under, but how strongly is this?
I'll say this: I like Miami's over better than the Jets over, and probably good transition. Over on the Jets.
I think I agree with that.
9.5. I'll be honest, like the way this Hassan Reddick thing is dragged on, and maybe he will come into camp and he'll be fine, but I don't know, man. Like if he doesn't,
so bad,
and he's an older guy, I always, and Katie pointed out, like these guys who hold out for a long time and then do end up playing and start the season, unless you're like a TJ Watt athletic freak or, you know, a Bosa who was clearly like a workout warrior. Yeah. I mean, again, Hassan Reddick's out there in Japan. It's not like he's working. He's not holding in. I worry.
Well, he might be holding some stuff in.
Yeah. I worry. He's hanging out. I worry that like a guy like him is not going to hit the ground running, and maybe they're not going to get that pass rush. And they lost Bryce Huff in the trade with the Eagles. I don't know. It's just kind of bad vibes a little bit from Jets camp in general. I don't know. It's not enough to switch me to the under, but certainly if I was ranking my win totals, I do like the Miami over better than I like the Jets over.
Okay. Well, you're on both of them.
Yes, I do. 10-7 feels about right with this Jets team. Again, like you kind of have to. I guess,
feel both these teams. The floor seems high if you avoid projecting injury.
Well, even if you project injury, like they now have Tyrod Taylor, which I think, you know, they were 7-10 last year with horrific quarterback play. So if the defense can still be as good as we expect, the Hassan Reddick thing to me, I guess, concerns me a little bit about their ceiling case. I think for those who, you know, and we had Chernoff on who had AFC at 9-1, AFC East, like that kind of ceiling case for this Jets team, to me, that as we've gone on here a little bit, I'm less optimistic about a ceiling case for the Jets.
Yeah, which unrelated, but I did appreciate the homerism coming from a sharp.
So what's your favorite bet, Ryan?
For the Jets?
Yes.
It's easy. It's the Breece Hall offensive player of the year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I certainly I'm with you. I think I would also, if I'm power ranking the overs, the Dolphins greater than the Jets. There is a little bit more volatility there. I spent the whole team preview series kind of identifying some organizations with shaky infrastructure. It does seem like not being aware of the guy that you're trading for wants a new deal and not working that out ahead of time just seems lazy.
Yes,
it seems.
Or some. I mean, if you're the GM for the Jets, you got to be Joe Douglas. You got to be kind of embarrassed, I would almost say.
I hope that there was like something came from the agent and there was maybe an assumption that things would be fine and maybe the position changed. But yeah, it does seem like you should have been able to handle this ahead of time. You should have been able to handle a press conference talking about Aaron Rodgers missing some days of camp or of mini camps without seemingly throwing him under the bus when he has had great attendance through all your bullshit off-season programs, even the like optional stuff.
Just the vibes are off by the Jets. The whole.
That being said, I'm still fine. Like seeing what this team did with trash quarterback play, make Aaron Rodgers a slightly above average quarterback. This team's clearly in the playoff. This team's in the playoffs with Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah.
I mean, let's not forget what Tyrod did with that questionable Bills team.
Well, and also I forget of how deep we got into it with on the team preview, but Nathaniel Hackett, the whole, hey, we're gonna bring Arthur Smith in to help explain how you should call plays. That probably is helpful to your Breece Hall offensive player of the year, but super skeptical. I'm just gonna go Garrett Wilson receiving touchdowns over 9.5. Considering you can get him double the price as Breece Hall, I like the case there. We know Aaron Rodgers isn't afraid to lock on to one receiver. Garrett Wilson again is a guy who's gotten it done with horrible quarterback play. If he can have a connection with Aaron Rodgers, they can lock in. I think this, to me, I like, because even if the Jets hit a wall second half of the season, they deal with some injuries, you still have a good case here for Garrett Wilson receiving over 9.5 touchdowns.
Yeah. I mean, stay tuned to when we build a little underdog gimmick later on. But yeah, I definitely like Garrett Wilson as well. It seems like there's an easier path for like Breece Hall becoming the number 1 overall fantasy pick and having this monster year both on the ground and through the air. Easiest way to capture that offensive player of the year.
Ryan,
Yes.
I'm firing up Rhythm because I'm in the lab. I did order us.
Wait, do we have goggles coming?
I did order us goggles. So when we get into the lab, aka using our models, and what's so cool about it,
I just had an idea. We got to have one of those images where we're cut out, so it looks like we're in a lab, but it's just our heads, like
superimposed. What's really fun is basically like I've been really knee deep in with the college football modeling. I'm gonna get to the NFL next, but yeah, it's
assume legal age, right? We're not talking. I mean, you're saying college.
Oh, yes,
modeling,
college.
right? Okay.
Yeah, some college modeling opportunities. No, I'm talking about building your own college football model.
Oh, okay.
Because week 0 is right around the corner. One of the plays that I like, according to my model, and again, I built a old school football model in honor of Colby, where I
triple option model.
I jacked up rushing matter and rushing and defense mattering as well.
Oh, this is going to be hilarious.
This is a model that a prediction that both my model and Rhythm's AI model both agree on. Under 59.5 for the North Dakota State Colorado game. Set at 59.5. I know you're out on the Buffs, Ryan, but 59.5 is a comically high total in my mind, and the model agrees. So yes, under on 59.5 for that Colorado Buffs game. Of course, start building your own models. What are you waiting for? sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. Get your free 7-day trial there. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. And of course, we're also brought to you by Game Time. If you want to check out some college football week 0, maybe you're in Hawaii and you're looking to catch that Delaware State Hawaii game. Breaking news: Delaware State missed their plane. You can probably get tickets pretty cheap, if I'm guessing, over on Game Time, and especially because of the Game Time guarantee. Any other ticket provider that you can find a better price, same section, same row, they will refund you 110% of the difference. They offer it because they know you can't beat the price. Ryan, I'm at the Hornets at Warriors at the Ching complex here, and I'm checking at some of the all-in pricing. You can get in for like $30 and get some really good seats here. Would be exciting to catch some college football this weekend. I'm seeing, you know what? And sorry, I misspoke. I'm seeing as low as $13 if you want to go nosebleed. But again, I would get the good tickets, good seats. This actually seems like a pretty sweet place to see a game. Whatever event you're going to, whether it's sports, comedy, concerts, go to gametime.co and use the promo code SGPN. Get you $20 off. Gametime.co. Kramer, last team, and then we
Real
build
quick,
our underdog.
I don't want to overrun this, and I'm sure we'll talk about it on tonight's show. But just dawned on me that Delaware State had a snafu at JFK. Would love to understand the full breadth of their travel coming from Delaware State.
Oh, well,
did they bust the JFK?
Yeah, and it sounded like there was a bus snafu, so maybe the bus broke down to JFK.
What are you gonna do? That's it. What are you gonna do? All right. Buffalo Bills.
Yes, Buffalo Bills. Ryan, what do we got?
I mean, another team that we were, I don't know, lukewarm. It seems like this entire division, all three teams, all the same. You had 11-6. I had 10-7, which makes us disagree on this win total.
Yes,
actually, even though we're kind of right in the same mix. You like them a little bit more strongly to win the division, I think, than I did. I am in on the idea of Josh Allen, and the more that I've thought about this team,
you know what, Ryan, bump them up one win. I got 6 wins. Yeah, make them 12-5. I think the more I think about this Buffalo Bills team, the more I see the wagon circling going on in this team, and maybe I'm making too much of the preseason, but that defensive line, I think, is going to be pretty good. Buffalo, I do still think, has a pretty elite home field advantage, and I think also from doing the rest of the team previews, whenever I saw the Bills on the other teams going up against the Bills, I kept in my head giving that game kind of to the Bills and realized maybe I did have them a win short, because I do like the narrative of And we saw it with Patrick Mahomes, right? Hey, Patrick Mahomes can't win with Tyreek Hill, and then they win the Super Bowl. Now, do I have the Bills winning the Super Bowl? No, but I think they're going to have a successful season without Stephon Diggs, and I think the narrative is still there of, oh, this Bills offense not going to be able to do it without Stephon Diggs. Meanwhile, I think they got a very good running game. I love the two tight end stuff they're going with. I do think Dalton Kincaid's good. I think Dawson Knox does have some deep fantasy value. Keon Coleman is going to be fun. Mac Hollins, if you've been following Mac Hollins and his home maintenance challenge, like they just kind of have this right mix of personality, characters with a good quarterback looking to make a move this year. The more we think about it, the more we talk about it. I like Bills to win the division plus 165.
Yeah, my pause is still the same, which is that people look past Mr. Brady's failures, and I will need to see the offense continue to have success. Although another team where they're favored in 11 games, Sean, and so that seems about right. They have some tougher games. They have an interesting 3-game. They're one of the teams that caught a 3-game road stretch. Some other things like that, but yeah. So what's your best bet then? Division.
Yeah. Yep. Plus 165.
All right. For me, it's Kincaid.
Okay. What do you got for him?
And do you play the touchdowns? Do you play the just play the receptions? I think I'll play the receptions. The 80.5.
Yeah. I mean, the more we talk about it, the over 80.5, I think is a pretty good play for you. One, because there is always some variance with the red zone stuff, the touchdowns stuff.
He had 73 catches last year.
Yeah.
As a rookie.
Yeah. I think him getting 8 more with no Stephon Diggs is a very reasonable assessment.
It seems like he's going to maybe even be the number 1 in the offense. Knox kind of been banged up a bunch in the preseason. I'll be curious to see if there's. I know they want to run a lot of 2 tight end stuff, but I'll be curious to see the numbers on how often, like on how many dropbacks of Josh Allen is Dalton Kincaid running a route. I think that number is going to be extremely high, and so his targets going from 91 to like 120, 115. Easy money. So we'll take the reception. Do we have any? We didn't talk about this, but do we have any interest in the most receptions market?
I saw Bill's Mafia DGen in the chat throwing that out there for Kincaid.
So it's 30-1. It's tough.
I'm not touching it again. Yeah. I'm not anti Kincaid, and I have to keep clarifying this position. I'm not anti Kincaid.
Sounds like you are.
I just think there's going to be enough spreading of the ball, and that's what I think is interesting about this receiver core. Josh Allen running the ball in, like I don't know. I'm not. They don't seem like it's going to be a crazy volume to Kincaid. Maybe I'm wrong, but certainly he has a case for the target share. But I'm not. Still, for a tight end to win this market it's a little crazier than 30-1 in my mind.
Yeah, but when you look at who he's priced next to, Drake London, Travis Kelce, Cooper Kupp, he's ahead of Deontay Johnson and Devonta Smith. It does kind of seem right. Head of Sam Laporta and Evan Ingram, by the way.
Well, again, probably a competition thing. I just think they're going to use the receivers enough. It's probably going to be spread out. That's why it's going to be a fun first touchdown market.
But that's a lock.
The
receptions.
Yeah.
Is that to me, Sean, you felt how thick my stack of futures tickets is.
Yes.
And only a couple in there are player props. Kincaid's receptions is one of those bets. So love it.
All right, Ryan, let's put together a division underdog 4-player entry.
Do we do the same one? Do we do a team one?
Yeah, I think so.
I like that.
All right. Patriots first team up. We got numbers on Ramondre, Hunter Henry, and Demario Pop Douglas.
I can tell you, the Pop Douglas take, I have no idea what to think based on things you read about this. Like the rookies are interesting, but it doesn't. So I don't know if I would include that in our mega play here. I will say I've gotten higher on Ramondre.
Really?
Or at least the idea that Ramondre is going to have a lot of work.
Yeah, I'm higher on him on fantasy, but I don't.
Well, last year in 12 games he got hurt, and there was a little bit of sharing in there. 619 rushing yards. He seems like he's got no one to share carries with this year. But you're also then kind of having to get in on the offense. So what's the angle then here for the Patriots?
Yeah, I mean, the one I gave out that I'm still feeling pretty decent about is the Hunter Henry higher 399.5 receiving yards. You don't like that?
I don't like anything on the Patriots. Like, we should do the
Okay.
Patriots last.
Okay.
We should skip it because we might like it so much we just decide that we don't want a tanking team on our entry. Let's do the Bills first.
Bills. All right. Bills, we got Josh Allen, James Cook, Keon Coleman, Dalton Kincaid, who I know you're high on, Ryan, but they only got receiving touchdowns, receiving yards. Josh Allen, obviously they got rushing touchdowns, passing yards, rushing yards, interceptions.
Do you have I mean, my strongest take would still be we got to look to Kincaid. So if you have a stronger take, I'm willing to get off of that, but I like how Josh is I don't think interceptions for Josh was on here the first time.
No.
Poor Josh.
I had Keon Coleman higher 725.5 receiving yards.
Kind of contradictory with me.
Yeah. But you like the Dalton Kincaid receiving yards?
I would, if I was choosing between yards and touchdowns, I would probably choose touchdowns.
Why don't we do Josh Allen passing yards? I mean, 3,800 is kind of crazy. His past 4 years, 4,500, 4,400, 4,200, 4,300. I think they're just like factoring in he's going to fall off a cliff with no Stephon Diggs, which I don't agree with. So that
they're expecting more on the ground with Cook, I guess, but
that feels like a big adjustment.
Sure. I'm in on that.
All right.
Cause I also think that if they don't have a great year and it's more Josh just doing Josh stuff, then it only helps that. Interesting how that number is so depressed.
All right.
Cause there's going to be a lot of short throws that turn into yak stuff too.
Yeah. 3,800 is
that's how the offense is structured now. So
I'm putting the higher in right now, Ryan.
Yeah, let's get that on the card. I guess I should do the same.
Okay, so we got that in. Next up, we got Miami, or I guess I skipped Miami, but Miami. What do we like here, Ryan, for the Dolphins?
I mean,
Tyreek Hill, Tua, Jalen Waddle, Mostert, Odell Beckham.
Well, I had the two. Mine was the Tua passing yards, and it was just a very, very, very simple handicap of if anything, the defense is taking a step back, and this team is going to be needing to score a ton of points. And I think just like I just said with Josh Allen, Tua gets a lot of yak.
Yeah, included
in his passing total. So I don't have any issue with going with another quarterback higher.
Let's lock it up. Yeah, Tua higher passing yards 4,100.5. That was what I liked originally.
I like how they
stick with that.
Clearly, priority for underdog to get an Odell set of props out there. Can't get some projections on May, but we got projections on Beckham.
What about the Jets? Breece Hall, Aaron Rodgers, Garrett Wilson, Mike Williams, Hassan Reddick is there. Tyler Conklin. I mean, we could get cute and play the lower Hassan Reddick sacks.
Are we worried that's just going to be a push? To me, it's like very obviously
I do think he plays, but I wouldn't be surprised if he misses maybe like that first game or has a slow start. I mean, I went with the Garrett Wilson stuff.
I would say
but I don't mind Breece Hall. I know you're big on Breece Hall.
Wilson or Hall. The problem with the Hall one is it is rushing touchdowns.
Yeah.
Versus total touchdowns. And so it does make me like the Garrett Wilson at 7.5 receiving touchdowns. I would that seems like a good play as well.
All right, we'll go with Garrett Wilson there. So Ryan, we got Garrett Wilson higher, even though there might be some value in some lowers. Garrett Wilson higher, Tua higher, Josh Allen higher. We're back on the Patriots. We got Ramondre, Hunter Henry,
Here's our
Mario
lower.
Pop Douglas.
Here's our lower. I think.
What are we going lower on?
Well, I did like the Pop Douglas higher, but I just just structurally, we need a lower on this card.
I mean, I don't mind lower Ramondre Stevenson rushing touchdowns.
That's like the one thing. I don't know.
He got 4 last year. So his 3 years of rushing touchdowns, 5.54. And that was when things weren't as bad as we think they might be this year.
It's true. All right.
Well, they have Antonio Gibson and it's spicy, Ryan.
Yeah, sure.
All right.
I think he could be more involved, but you're right. I mean, why would it be any different than last year? I guess if he's healthy.
So officially we got Ramondre Stevenson lower, 4.5 rushing touchdowns. Garrett Wilson higher, 7.5 receiving touchdowns. Tua higher, 4,100.5 passing yards. Josh Allen higher, 3,800.5 passing yards. Firing on that right now. Let's get it. $100 wins you what? $940.
Beautiful.
Underdogfantasy.com, promo code SGPN.
So final answer, neither of us are changing any of our win totals for this division.
No, I added 1 win to New England and Buffalo, but it did not change the over under on those results. So nope. Looking good. And yeah, what division's up next, Ryan?
We're going down the AFC. So I believe what comes after E in the alphabet, is it N? North.
Okay.
There we go.
So AFC North,
the ultimate randomizer, the alphabet.
AFC North, which is interesting. I could see myself sliding a couple wins here or there as we break things down. But yeah, looking forward to the AFC North. Of course, go back, listen to all 32 team previews, 1 word per team preview, and you enter the phrase that pays. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/phrase. Also 10% off everything in the merch store when you use the promo code football. Football is here. If you're watching on YouTube, we will be back tonight, 8:30 ish West Coast time, talking college football week 0. Let's go, baby.
Thank you for participating in the Sports Gambling Podcast.
For Sports Gambling Podcast, I'm Sean, Second the Money Green. He's Ryan.
Football is really here, Sean
Kramer. Let it ride.